Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, let's talk luxury. I will share with you my favorite tips that you can steal today and make your space feel elevated. I believe that no matter if it's a room or a full house that you're working on, it's all about decisions. So, this video is going to teach you on how to make the right choices when it comes to colors and finishes and strategies overall to make sure that you can achieve an elevated and luxurious feel. Now, let's get started. The first pro tip that I will share with you is to make sure that you don't leave your walls blank. None of the builder grade walls that are just plain drywall, finished with primer or white paint. So, what you need to do is to introduce some texture or some substance to your walls. You could do that through textured wall paint, lime wash, wallpaper, paneling with lots of different options out there. Even the ones that are peel and stick that are very easy to install over the weekend. Trust me, just by adding something onto the walls instead of just focusing on stuffing your room with extra furniture and decor will immediately elevate your space. The next one is to opt for natural or natural like finishes versus high gloss. High gloss days are over where you have all these high gloss door panels and reflective, furniture and um, fabric that feels like plastic. Those are so tacky, so cheap looking, and should be completely out of your house. So, whenever you're choosing finishes, materials, go for something that resembles the actual natural material if you cannot afford natural. So, that could be satin finish, leather finish, when it comes to, let's say, porcelain slabs. And for fabric, the same thing, going with linen, stonewash cotton, velvet, anything that feels rich, feels wholesome without having too much plastic and gloss. The next one is drapes. Drapery immediately makes any space feel so boutique like, so elevated, so high end, like a luxury hotel. So, when it comes to drapes, the first thing to keep in mind is, of course, the size. A lot of times people buy drapes for the size of the actual window, but instead, you need to think about scale, going more exaggerated, going much taller, almost floor to ceiling, and wider too. And when it comes to fabric, make sure that you don't choose something that is too flimsy and just kind of sags on the sides of your window. And go with structured fabric, even if it's, let's say, linen or cotton, something that's very thin and kind of flimsy on its own. A lot of times in high-end ready-made panels, they do come with a backing panel that keeps everything structured and sturdy. When it comes to your rods and how you attach the drape panel, stay away from grommets. They look like a cheap shower curtain on your windows in your living room, which we absolutely don't want. So there are different ways to do it. There's a three-way to do it with clips, with um, pockets, and there's lots of options. I will put a few links down below so you can kind of get familiar with it, not to get too carried away with drapes, but the rods and the drapery is one of the big things that you can do to really transform your space in a luxury way. The next one is to go oversized in scale. Not for everything, but choosing one item and exaggerating it in scale a little bit. Because what that does is it creates this kind of a statement piece. It feels very status like, very rich looking. And let's say if you're doing an oversized art, it will look a lot more high end, almost like a gallery effect versus a cluster of little frames, because then those look more casual, a bit more homey, and perhaps even busy sometimes. Same goes for, let's say, a chandelier over your dining table. Having it wider and bigger and larger will make a beautiful statement. A rug is another one. Having a big rug, a lot of times, like 9 out of 10, people put a rug literally for their coffee table and not anything around it. So, going bigger with the rug outside of your furniture layout will not only make the space feel anchored and substantial, but also make the space feel bigger. And same goes for, furniture. Perhaps it could be one furniture piece that will be a statement in your room, and going again less but a little bit larger. The next one is cohesive palettes and finishes. And what you could do here with colors is, instead of having a mixture of different colors and patterns, you stick with 3 to 4 colors that are within the same family but in different tones. So perhaps you're working with two light neutrals, one medium taupe, and one dark for accents. And for finishes, the same thing. Instead of incorporating too many colors, let's say, one of your armchairs has a dark brown legs, the coffee table has chrome base, your chandelier is polished brass, and there's just too many colors and too many finishes going on at the same time, which looks really cluttered and tacky. So, one way you could do it is to actually work with either one finish throughout the house or throughout the room, or you can incorporate another finish that is quite different in contrast. So you wouldn't want to mix two, let's say, finishes that are pretty close to each other, because it will kind of look like an oversight. For instance, you have a brushed nickel next to brushed brass. Because they're so close, it will feel like something is off and perhaps there was a mistake. But if you're taking, let's say, matte black with brushed brass, because they're so different in contrast in colors, they actually do complement each other quite well. The next one is a signature scent. And the interesting thing is that whenever anybody walks to any space, the first thing they notice, or we notice, is the scent of how it smells. And what you would want to do here is, instead of working with one fragrance of one particular scent, let's say it's one flower or one floral scent or vanilla or something, you want to work with multi-sensory, multi-layered signature scent throughout your house. One that never fails is a combination of vanilla, sandalwood, and fig. This trio is used a lot in high-end luxury hotels and boutique stores. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful scent that really is loved by everyone. And you want to also make sure that your scent doesn't just end in your entry and then something else starts in your bathroom and something else in the living room. You want to carry the scent throughout. So when you're placing your diffusers, stick with the same scent. And if you're not sure, get a few samplers and try them out, test them out, see how you feel, and then stick to one signature scent that everybody will remember you by. The next tip is to have less but better decor. A lot of times people get carried away with too many accessories on their shelves, and they're too little and too cluttered and too clustered. So, what you would want to do instead is focus on bigger pieces that are better quality and having less of them. So if it's a coffee table, you can have one of or two of those big designer books with perhaps one large bowl and a large flower arrangement. And if it's a shelf, again, having less is always better, always more sophisticated. Having empty space on your shelves is okay. So you don't have to fill everything from edge to edge. Going with less, bigger, and higher quality would be perfect. The next one is symmetry and order. So, this is when you start placing your furniture layout. Think about pairs and symmetry, making sure that it's a nice a cohesive composition when it comes to having your accent chairs, your sofas, your coffee table, where everything is aligned. It has a nice, clean composition. And same thing when it comes to decorating your shelves, as we talked about earlier, going with repetitive items on both sides, whether it's in a form, color, shape, or texture, will create that sense of order, which again signals status and luxury and harmony. The next one is having layered lighting. I've talked about this quite a lot, but the key here is to not rely on one source of light, let's say a chandelier, but introducing various types of lights, because at the end of the day, what lighting does is it gives you flexibility in different ambience of light. Let's say in the morning when you're cheerful, you're organizing, cleaning, you want to have more lights. When you are finding yourself in the evening after a long day, you want to make sure that your home can turn into this cozy cocoon with less light, more intimate light, almost like a candlelight glow. So, having some sconces, table lamps, floor lamps, LED lights on your shelves will be an amazing addition to your overall space. And of course, one thing I cannot forget to mention is not having white lights that is so sterile and reminds you of, an office space or a dentist office, but going for warm white will be phenomenal. And the last one is to incorporate hidden storage. A lot of times when people decorate, renovate, build, they forget about the inventory that's going to be coming into this particular room. So you have to start thinking about it way, way, way ahead of everything and making sure that everything that's coming into this room eventually has a designated space, whether it's going to be a built-in wall unit, maybe a nice beautiful hutch, maybe the furniture will hold some storage as well. But again, making sure that everything has been hidden behind the doors or drawers to have your surfaces clean will make the room feel very upscale and beautiful. And that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and I will see you soon.